Hello and welcome to a video tutorial. Now this is probably one of the questions that I get asked very often, so I figured I'd put together a new up-to-date video on the things to check when your Nitro engine won't start, either won't start at all, which is unusual, or is a real pain in the arse to start. Now let me just start by saying this is a 1/10 scale HSP Nitro truck using an 18 sized engine. However, this tutorial you can take away these steps and use them with any Nitro engine, be it on a plane, a boat, a car or a truck or whatever else you can fit a Nitro engine to. Now, when starting your Nitro engine, the first thing I would always check, regardless of the situation, if you insert your igniter and you're pulling away on the starter, the first thing that I would check personally is that the throttle opening gap is set to 1mm open. To check this, it's really simple. Just take out your air filter and take a look inside the carburetor, and that default setting there is your carburetor opening gap. That's the setting that your carburetor sits at when you're not applying any throttle. So that could be one of the reasons why it's not starting, and reason being, if the carburetor is completely closed or isn't open enough, then simply the engine is going to struggle to get started, particularly if it's cold. The next thing I would check, if that's all good, I would check my glow plug. Now if you are lucky enough to have a glow plug igniter that actually has an indicator on the top, then this is easier for you. This glow plug igniter will only glow, this little red LED on the top here, will only glow up if the glow plug igniter is working properly. However, what I would still do is take my 4-way wrench and then I would remove the glow plug, and then I would simply just check that my glow plug is working. Just take the glow plug and hold it onto the igniter, and then just make sure that the glow plug is working. Once you've found out that it's working, then obviously just replace it into the engine. Obviously if it's not working, then just replace the glow plug with a new one of the same type, providing that's the correct type of course, and then just continue. Okay, now the third thing I would check if my Nitro engine wasn't starting is I would make sure that the engine is primed. Now what we mean by primed is where there's some fuel inside the engine to ignite, basically. Now you can prime your engine two ways. The first way would be to pop your finger over the exhaust pipe and then turn the engine over, be that by a drill start or a pull start. What that does is that forces fuel from the fuel tank into the carburetor through this fuel line here. Okay, make sure there's plenty of fuel going in. If you do have these yellow fuel lines like I have, it can be a little bit harder just to see the fuel going in, but either way just make sure that there's fuel going into the carburetor. If when you block the exhaust and you pull the starter you're struggling to get it through, then what you want to do is pull off this back pressure tube here. This is the back pressure tube. If you pull this off and blow into it, that will force some fuel from the tank into the carburetor just to prime the engine. Of course, some Nitro engines do of course have a primer bulb in the fuel line, so if you have one of those, then brilliant, just use that. But either way, you want to make sure that there's some fuel hitting the carburetor, because otherwise, if there's not, then that's why your engine won't start, simply because there's nothing there to ignite. The next thing I would check, and this one usually wouldn't really stop it from starting altogether, is the nitro fuel you're using. Now nitro fuel does go bad. If you're using some fuel that's been sat in the attic for like 10 years, then it's probably gone bad. So always check that you're using a good quality fuel of a good percentage and of a good percentage for your setup. Make sure the fuel is suitable for your engine. Make sure you're using the right kind of fuel. If you've got a car, make sure you're using car fuel and not plain fuel, and just little things like that. But apart from those few steps there, really, providing it's got a good glow on the glow plug and the carburetor is open and there's fuel going in, there's no real reason, basic reason, why it wouldn't start. The last thing I would just check would be your tuning settings. Now the tuning settings, I've done loads of tutorials on my channel how to tune a Nitro engine, but if you're in any doubt, check your user manual and return the tuning settings, that being the high speed needle, this one just here, to its factory setting. And what I mean by factory setting is if you go online or just into your user manual and Google, say if I've Googled Vertex 18 default settings, it will then give me some settings to return the carburetor to, and then pop that back to the default settings, and then you know that your carburetor is back with a setting that's actually allowing fuel in. Again, usually bad settings won't stop the engine starting completely unless they're so bad that actually they're not letting any fuel go in. That's the only situation where it would probably stop the engine starting altogether. But apart from that, guys, these little things are really, really simple once you get to know them, and the best thing I can say is if your engine isn't starting, the biggest tip I can give you is just don't give up, because they are a pain. This one was a bit of a nuisance today, but just don't give up, and if you are in any doubt, then just drop me a message in the comment section below. And of course, if you haven't seen my face on your screen before, then please hit the red subscribe button, and if this video's helped you, please be sure to leave a like. See you guys in the next video.